Hello, everyone. As the title suggests, I'm here today to talk to you about the challenges to study abroad during the current COVID-19 crisis. My name is Todd Allen, and I'm an associate professor from Kansai University. I also coordinate a number of our faculty's study abroad programs. In my position, I focus on our partners in Oceania, as well as the University of Alberta and Chatham University in North America. However, before I begin, I would also like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Lin Feng for inviting me to give this keynote address. Currently, we are facing very uncertain times. However, through discussion and collaboration with each other around the world, I believe we'll be successful in managing and supporting the stakeholders of higher education, such as our students, teachers, and managers. Study abroad has had a very long history in Japan, both in terms of inbound and outbound programs. Researchers have shown that on a macro level, study abroad plays a major role in developing relationships between countries and, of course, people. In addition, researchers have also shown that on a micro level, students develop their language skills, learn about their host cultures, participate in cultural events, foster intercultural communicative competency, and increase their academic knowledge on various subjects. In Japan, these skills are seen as vital in order for young people to become globally competent citizens. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Japan aimed to double the number of students studying abroad to 120,000 by 2020. On their website, they make the following statement. There is a global trend in demand for talented individuals who can take an active part in the ever-globalizing world with valuable skills in foreign language and intercultural understanding. For this reason, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Japan encourages Japanese students to study abroad more than ever. This suggests that from a top-down approach, the Japanese government is encouraging and supporting various study abroad programs in various institutions, such as higher education. However, we find ourselves in very unprecedented times. We're all facing a very serious disease, first discovered in December 2019. As a result of this highly infectious disease, most countries locked down their borders by March 2020, with various levels of warnings for travelers issued, along with strict quarantine rules such as 14-day isolation and mandatory testing upon entry. Some countries were stricter than others, however. In Australia, for example, where I'm from and where we send our students, not only was the country's border closed, but also the state borders were closed, limiting inter-country travel. In addition, mandatory mask wearing was enforced by law and fines were issued if people did not comply. Also, in some situations, people were only permitted to travel within 5 kilometers of their home. Schools, workplaces, and universities were also closed to mitigate the spread of the virus. This resulted in students and teachers being forced to engage with emergency remote teaching. This also impacted upon study abroad programs. As students from our university left Japan to participate in their respective programs in early 2020, they found themselves facing an uncertain situation. In a COVID-19 free context, study abroad can be difficult for some people, adjusting to new cultures and a new life abroad, without the familiar sights and sounds of their previous life to support them. Most of us who have studied abroad or have even moved to another country for a long period experience the various stages of culture shock. However, students in the current context needed to contend with culture shock while being isolated as they were studying remotely from home. This means that students are unable to have the usual support offered by universities and do not have the same level of support networks from their family and friends. In addition, students who are currently studying abroad at the moment indicated to us that COVID-19 impacted them in many ways. For example, some noted that they could not participate in things like sporting activities. They were unable to interact with local students, and their motivation for learning had decreased. This is why we rely on our study abroad partners. As a coordinator of study abroad programs, it is my responsibility to build strong, respectful, and resilient relationships with our partners so that in times of crises, we can rely on them to support our students. I am very happy to report that during this time, all of our partners have done this, including Chatham University, as they have offered additional support programs. They've been in contact with our students by utilizing various forms of communication tools, as well as reporting to us here in Japan on the status of our students day by day, week by week in certain situations. Studying online is also a challenge that our students are faced with. As classes were forced online, students needed to adapt to this new environment. A majority of our students were studying language skills courses, which can be challenging in an online environment. Usually, language skills are developed using a communicative approach to language teaching. However, sometimes this cannot be easily replicated online. However, many of our partners used various technologies in synchronous and asynchronous formats to facilitate effective learning for our students. Our partners were flexible and supportive, and gradually students adapted to this new normal. By moving to an online format, some students were also able to return to Japan, continuing to study online through our partners. While this was not the ideal situation, it meant that they could study at their desired university from the safety of their own homes here in Japan. While COVID-19 has been destructive in many ways, there have been some positive points that should be addressed. Students and teachers have developed skills that they normally would not have acquired. For example, digital literacy among Japanese students has increased, along with the continued pursuit of better teaching practices with the aid of technology. As most classes in Japan have moved back to a face-to-face format now, teachers are adopting more technology in the classroom to encourage engagement and motivation in their students, as well as reducing their own workloads. Students currently studying abroad also noted that while COVID-19 had negatively impacted upon their study abroad, they had gained new skills and uncovered new insights about themselves. For example, students noted that they had more time to study and focus on their language learning. They developed deeper relationships with their friends and learned features of language, such as casual messaging, that would not have necessarily been learned if they had not switched to online learning. Currently, COVID-19 is still impacting upon study abroad, with many countries still closed and unable to receive international students. However, universities have responded by offering classes online in a flexible way. That is, students in Japan attend classes at their chosen universities remotely. While this is not perfect, and students may not be able to experience an authentic study abroad experience, they are able to develop their language skills and intercultural communicative competence. At Kansai University, we're working on establishing new partnerships for our students. We are taking into consideration how governments are handling the current crisis, as well as the possibility of future travel should countries begin opening up in early to mid 2021. While we cannot wait for a vaccine that may never come, although currently we are almost there with a vaccine, study abroad programs need to continue. Universities around the world are working on alternative ways to provide international education and experience to students. While working remotely in Japan, students are able to interact with their teachers through a variety of applications such as Zoom, as well as experience life and culture of that particular country. There have been instances of cultural tours of tourist places where local guides wear cameras and microphones to give the audience an authentic experience. The guide is able to interact with both the audience as well as the people on the street. Such innovation needs to continue in this way. Study abroad coordinators and managers need to continue to develop their relationships, coming up with solutions in these very challenging times. Chatham University and Kansai University are doing these exact things. We are working together to mitigate the dangers of COVID-19 while trying to develop innovative programs for students to work in safe and engaging ways. This is by no means easy, but by adopting the principles we try to instill in our students, such as being critically engaged, being open-minded, being empathetic, being proactive, being innovative, and being collaborative, we can together manage this very challenging time. Our students depend on us. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to address you from Japan. I hope that this International Education Symposium is a success, and I look forward to visiting Chatham University when it is safe to do so. Thank you very much.